Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Grapplers Academy. Today we're going to be looking and breaking down specific wrestling technique. Gary Tonon's match from ADCC 2019 against Dante Leon. It's actually a really exceptional match, isn't it? There's some excellent wrestling all the way through it, but we're going to have a look at a really nice overhook Uchimata series that comes a little bit later on in the match. If you don't know anything about Gary Tonon or you've not seen anything on him before, go and check our previous episode where we break down a match between Gary Tonon and Dylan Dennis. That's another great match as well. And Gary Tonon's got exceptional wrestling. He's probably the top tier guy for exciting wrestling in grappling at the moment. He's also got a great MMA career going on as well. But what are your thoughts on it? I think his wrestling's probably some of the best in jiu-jitsu at the moment.
Yeah, like in the submission grappling game, I don't think there's anybody with wrestling that can match up to him, really. Like he's got the timing and the sort of the wide array of techniques that means that he can transition from one to the next, then to the next, then to the next. And if that's not going on, put him on his back and he'll play quite happily from there as well. Like for me, I think I said it before on this, but he's probably the best grappler of this generation. He's got teammates that have earned a few more medals than him, but I'd probably argue to say that Tonon's the best grappler around at the moment.
And he can wrestle from anywhere, can't he? He's got those traditional wrestling fundamental techniques from standing up. He can wrestle from the ground up, so he might be baiting you in with some leg play or trying to create a leg entanglement and then immediately start coming up and attacking a single leg sweep or a double leg blast or something like that. So, yeah, as you said, he can pretty much wrestle and grapple from anywhere. You know, he's not afraid to give his back up to go for a good position. And I think more importantly as well, like for people who are getting new into grappling or just the entertainment of the sport, he's really exciting to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And you can also probably put that down with his attire as well. His attire and his hair choices, I'd say. Like, he's always going to play interesting and look interesting when he's on the mats.
Yeah, I mean, the outfit in ADCC that he had was probably, I don't know whether he's had a better outfit than that, basically dressing up as Uncle Sam, wasn't he? With his little peroxide blonde goatee, hair on the go as well, like all American apparel in shorts. I'm pretty envious. Like, it was a pretty strong look to bring to ADCC.
Oh, 100%. Like, it's kind of a cross between Eminem and Uncle Sam. If he decided to sign up for a wrestling competition.
That is a match I would pay to see.
Oh, yeah. Eminem versus Uncle Sam.
Eminem versus Donald Trump, sub only, 20-minute match. Think about it.
I think I'll tap out from watching it.
As long as he doesn't like break out the disinfectant and start trying to inject it midway through the match.
Or start taking malaria medication.
Yeah. But I mean, like, give us a bit of a breakdown on this match. It was a good one up until the technique that we're going to look at, and there's a couple of things that happened that are quite important to the build up to this technique, isn't it?
Yeah, like at the start of the match, his opponent kind of pulls guards, Tonon goes straight down with him, and they both sort of play the feeling out game to start off with. You can see Dante testing out a few entries, and Tonon's just sort of feeling him out, and with some lovely movement, and his leg entry he goes for into that saddle with that heel hook. It looked on, if I'm honest with you. And you could probably argue that that's where this entry for this takedown came in. Because as you'll see in the clip, as he's sort of going heavy on the overhook, he's almost baiting that he's going to go for that scissor takedown. And soon as Dante reacts to that, he steps in with his secondary attack and just throws him. And it's beautiful to watch.
Yeah, the entry on the ground to the leg initially was something similar to an Inari roll, wasn't it? But not quite. A very similar sort of body mechanic, but a slightly different position on the setup.
Yeah.
And the Uchimata that he hits, it's a really nice one to go and break down today because it's slow and methodical in the setup. And because of that earlier exchange in the match, like you said, Dante is kind of aware that that leg game is there as an option. And we all know that Gary Tonon likes to play the legs. So it kind of plays in his favour when he's baiting and setting up. Because I think from watching it that initially he wants to try and get this Uchimata sweep.
Yeah.
But then he can see that Dante is expecting that leg entanglement coming. So he kind of uses that to his advantage to set up his grips a little bit better and manipulate his body position before actually going for it. So really good one to watch just because it's slow and you can see the little few steps that need to go into place to make the technique happen.
No, definitely. And if for anybody who's wanting to watch the full match, Flow Grappling's kindly put it up onto YouTube. So go over and watch the full match. It's a really exciting, really technical exchange between two top players. Yeah, so with the takedown, it sort of starts off with a bit of an exchange. And as we play through it in a second, Dante Leon gets quite a nice underhook followed by a bit of a body lock, really. But for me, doesn't really sink in Tonon's hips to kind of control him in that way. But again, he's aware of the leg lock entries, and Tonon literally will disappear underneath you to take the legs if the opportunity is there. So it's kind of weighing up your options and playing the which one's more dangerous card when you're kind of deciding what to do when you're taking over somebody's body. But we'll play it through now, and we'll sort of we'll break it down as we get through it. Is there anything you want to add to it, Bon, before we get into it?
No, let's go through it. Let's check it out.
Sweet. So as you can see, they're sort of going into an exchange here, and this exchange here is this kind of the first bit that we're going to sort of highlight. As you can see, Dante's gone round with the underhook here, but Gary's gone straight for the whizzer and the overhook, and he's going to be applying a lot of pressure downwards into sort of Dante's shoulder. Sort of like, it's quite a nice way to control it, isn't it, Bon? Like this way of sort of going heavy on that shoulder, especially if someone gets the underhook.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of my thoughts on that was how willing was Gary to give up that position initially just to get this overhook, because you can see already and a key part of making this takedown that he ends up getting successful is the turning of the body and the turning in of the hips. So like we talked about before on previous episodes, Gary's starting to apply that rotational force onto Dante, even from this first bit of the exchange here. And you can see with the leg, Gary Tonon's leg that's got the band, the red band on it, he's already starting to use it as a bit of a feeler, testing out the base and the reaction from Dante with the touches that he's going to start applying with that. And that's going to give him the idea of where he wants to go with it. Does he go for the leg entry or does he go for the Uchimata?
No, definitely. You can almost sort of see him as it progresses through, where he's testing for the leg entry as well with his hand placement on the floor. So he's sort of going through. You can sort of see him dropping that hand a little bit there. So because like a lot with the leg scissor entry, this arm here almost acts as a post to take the weight of the body as the legs sort of go in to entangle the legs. And you can almost see straight away in Dante's reaction, his legs and hips start to move in a way to defend the leg entry, which puts all of his weight onto this far leg here, which is where Gary Tonon gets his takedown from. And is there, which was just like I said, just as Bon said earlier, it's a really, really nice entry into the takedown.
Yeah, there's kind of a couple of things as well that need to happen here with that hand that you were just talking about being a base for the scissors, isn't it? And there, that cupping of the elbow is going to allow him to apply that and continue to apply that rotational force on the upper body. So what he needs to do is get his opponent's head to roll and tuck underneath him as he blocks the leg. and takes the hips out of the equation. So after he's finished that feeling out process of, am I going to go for the scissor takedown on the floor? And he's decided that it's not the best option because his opponent's hips have moved back. First thing he comes to do is try and get a really solid grip on his opponent's tricep and elbow so he can apply that rotational force. So he's going to drop his left shoulder down at the same time as he's pulling through on the elbow. Now we can see that he's coming through to block the hip. And all this that's going on here is every little step that we need to get this technique to work. And it might look like quite a flash technique, but it's actually kind of a judo fundamental, isn't it? Or a wrestling fundamental.
Yeah.
And pretty easy to pull off. But I don't know about you, but I've seen people go for it a lot and not really have a lot of success with it because they miss out on a couple of key parts.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people, where they go wrong with it is they try to almost muscle it rather than time it and get their opponent to commit to the one leg before they throw it. Because I've seen a lot of people where they'll just sort of try and keep it and just pull the arm and expect them to trip over. But as you'll sort of see with this overhook here that Tonon's got, he's going to be driving force through Dante's armpit. As well as with this, he's going to be pulling it all the way around. So he's kind of creating that twisting force through Dante's torso. Now, without the blocker on the hip, Dante's just going to follow him around. And like I said, that's where this leg comes in and almost chops the leg and blocks it from rebasing. So then when the leg can't go any further, the hips are going to do, all they're going to be able to do is just fly all the way over the top and end up essentially on your back, which, as you can sort of see here, happens. And another little thing as well, it's a lesson that I've learned and sort of picked up from working with a few judoka, is when you're going to throw, you have to fall with the throw. So you're kind of letting your body weight and gravity help you, as opposed to trying to throw and keep yourself based. You have to go with the throw, and your body weight and gravity is going to help you with that, as long as you've got everything in place to block their movement, which you can sort of see here. Gary does that quite well. His head's going below his hips. He comes right down and he lands on Dante. Like, you can't quite see it on the camera angle, but I'd imagine that he's up on his toes and he's almost falling. So it's his body weight that's landing on Dante, as opposed to him just trying to throw him and land in side control.
Yeah, you see judo guys when they're drilling these sorts of takedowns, they'll actually roll all the way through, don't they, when they're drilling it? So quite oftentimes they'll hit the takedown but continue rolling to carry on with that momentum. But interestingly enough, there's a couple of different options that you can do with the leg from that position as well, isn't there? Of course, you've got like that outside block, but you could also, if we back the frame up a little bit, where here, if we pause there, rather than the leg being on the outside, he could have used his leg on the inside as an option as well, couldn't he? And use that as the elevator. Now, what you'd have to do differently from that is, rather than it just being a blocker on the outside there, is that leg would get in on the underneath, and you have to hop your weight, so you're getting your hips underneath your opponent's hips. But the upper body position's the same, isn't it? You need to get that rotational force. And as you rightly said, like, a really key point on this is getting your head below your hips. So your opponent's head is below their hips as well. So it's starting to create that rolling motion. Yeah. And then whether you've got the elevator under the legs or whether you've got the blocker on the outside of the legs, the effect is pretty much the same in terms of the outcome, isn't it?
Mm. And like I said, on top of that bit as well, is...
Sorry, I don't know that.
Oh, sorry, Alexa.
Alexa doesn't know this technique. We need to go through it with her.
If you want to watch it, Alexa, we've got it on YouTube, so just get onto there. You'll find Gary Tonon essentially attaches his torso as well to Dante's. So again, instead of letting the distance occur between the arms and the underhook and the overhook, like, Tonon's body's attached to Dante, so his grips are tight enough that as soon as his torso moves, Dante's coming with him. There's not a delay between Gary Tonon going for the throw. So as soon as Gary Tonon gets that grip, and he starts to turn, Dante's with him straight away. Whereas I've seen it where it's performed, where this might not be performed as successfully from other grapplers, where they'll move and it might only be a split second, but there'll be a delay in their opponent moving, and that delay kind of gives them that better chance to kind of rebase and get their weight backwards, and almost lower the chance of success with the throw as well. It's kind of a common thing with that belly to back suplex. Like you see that very commonly. I think in the same tournament when it was Barboza versus Gordon Ryan. Right at the end of the match, Barboza gets onto Gordon Ryan's hips and tries to go for that belly to back suplex. Must be down to fatigue. As soon as he starts to move, Gordon Ryan stays where he is, and then Gordon Ryan gets lifted, which gives him a chance to rebalance, make himself heavier, and almost counter the takedown.
Like Shakira famously said, she must have been an exceptional judoka. Just don't lie. But on a more serious note, this camera angle is great because we can see that Dante's legs haven't moved position, but look how much his spine started to twist.
Yeah.
We can just see like how effective a blocker the leg is, and the amount of pressure and rotational force that Gary Tonon's starting to apply and getting his head tucked in underneath. I think we should watch this in full speed a couple of times to wrap this up because it's just poetry in motion, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. We'll start off with the start of the clinch. Like, for me, like you can see him as well. Like he tests the waters with that tricep grip first as well. So he takes the tricep grip there, takes it again there, resecures his overhook, baits, and then boom.
It's just a really nice technique to see, and to see the slow setup of it, and a high level player applying it on another high level player just gives you that confidence to go into the gym and train it yourself, knowing that it's an effective technique.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like seeing things like this on the highest level massively gives the confidence for techniques like this to be taken out. But it also emphasizes the fact that, drill it in the gym, get it nailed in the gym. And when you compete, it's going to be an accumulation of everything that you've done in the gym. Because I'm sure these guys drill these takedowns and have these wrestling rounds massively frequently in the blue basement. And you can just sort of see how comfortable he is with that entry. Like Gary Tonon's face does not change expression. There's no look of worry, look of confusion. It's almost as if Dante's reacted the exact same way that he wants him to.
And interestingly as well, from a traditional wrestling standpoint, it looks and appears like Dante's got a more dominant position on the face value, doesn't it? Because he's got the underhook, he's got the inside head position, he's got his forehead against Gary Tonon's cheek, but his overall body position is not quite there to get something off and execute in the way that he would want to, is it?
No.
Yeah, poetry in motion. I love that takedown.
Yeah, no, it's like I say, when you brought that one up to cover, I watched it properly again and I was like, 100% we are doing this one.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of nice examples of it as well. I think Craig Jones hits it nicely a couple of times in competition. It is a high percentage takedown, so definitely one worthwhile incorporating into people's games.
No, definitely. And for the next episode, we are going to be looking at trying to highlight or identify sort of key wrestling positions, more so for the beginner to intermediate level, for submission grappling, as well as we're going to reel off our sort of preferred techniques, or what we'd say are essential techniques for people who are wanting to start learning to wrestle, or sort of almost wanting to level up their wrestling game from a submission grappling aspect. Thank you for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you on Saturday.